Welcome, one and all. This is the Peace Dealer, and I'm here on episode 10 of our Peace Talks. And this is what I do every week to kind of profile YouTubers and spiritualists who are helping bring awareness to this new age. And thankfully, on this episode, I have the wonderful Ayse. How are you doing, Ayse?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. I mean, this Mercury retrograde is kind of getting on my nerves, but
Yeah.
other than that, it is what it is. Did I say your name right?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
Cool, cool.
Everyone butchers it. I was like, oh, is he gonna say it right? Is he gonna say it right? And he did. It was awesome.
Cool, cool, cool. That's what's up. Yeah, I definitely have. I know my last name, people. I have like so many variations of my last name. It's not even funny. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you actually stay in, where are you from?
I'm from Florida, born and raised. Where I'm at, it's like mostly like a senior population, lots of old people, but it's cool. And like I'm kind of like nearby to Miami, and I think it's in Miami where you'll see a lot more of like the New Age movement. You'll see people a lot more interested in the things that are a little more obscure rather than just kind of like the mainstream media. So there's like where you find out more of the culture and stuff. But yeah, it's awesome. I love Florida.
And where are you from? Your name
I
sounds really exotic.
Yeah, I am half Turkish and half Honduran, so I'm like half Spanish and half Middle Eastern. Yeah, it's like a crazy mix.
Ooh, that is so awesome. Wow.
Hey.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I have something to ask you about that later. But I guess for now we could hop right into this read. What really got you to start this spiritual journey of yours? How did you?
Um, okay. Well, I think my entire life I was always kind of like I don't know. I think I was always like a little star child. Like I always was wondering about the mysteries of like the universe and what it is to exist and like what's the role of like humanity in the world. So like I always had questions and I totally sound like I totally sound whatever. I'm just gonna go with it. But like I relate a lot to Albert Einstein, and crazily enough, is he has I think he has his Mercury and his Venus conjunct in the same nakshatra that I have my Sun, Venus, and Mercury, Revati, and that's in Vedic astrology. And like he's really into the mystery of the universe and not necessarily finding answers, but just reveling in the beauty of the mysteries um, and that's like pure Pisces. Like that's it's really awesome, you know. Like you never really know with Pisces, and I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, you really do never know with Pisces.
Yeah.
Definitely true. So you definitely are motivated to know the mysteries of the universe, and
Yeah.
that would basically be your core motivation. How did you get into astrology? When did you start doing that?
Well, I was always, as a kid, like I always wanted. I thought it was just so cool. Like okay, first of all, I was like a little nerd. Like I love not calling everybody nerds, but like I love Greek mythology, and my dad used to read me Greek mythology stories all the time. Like they were like my bedtime stories. And as you know, like Zeus is supposedly like Jupiter. So a lot of like the goddess and god archetypes are made after the planets. So Venus is Aphrodite and stuff like that. So I always kind of had that opening into astrology, and it just fit in as I was growing up as an adolescent. Um, I was at that phase where I wanted to find out more about myself and like self-discovery, and I found out about my sun sign, and it just kind of went along with it, and I grew with it. As I started having more relationships, I became interested in synastry and things like that. And in my channel, I want to focus on a lot on synastry, just because I mean that's like really me into it. At that point, I kind of got like obsessed with it and started following transits and everything. From there, I'm here.
Yeah, synastry is so awesome. I'm so
Yeah.
fascinated with that. Do you use the composite over the Davidson chart, or do you just strictly stick with one, or do you just use like the synastry?
The composite I only use a composite if it's like a really long-term relationship, or if it's something like a family member, like, but otherwise I just go with like the general synastry. And I actually really follow asteroids. I don't really know of too many other people who do. But like I'll go into all the asteroids, and I just think it's so interesting that a lot of these asteroids, like I think the planets will give you like the general energy, right? But if you really want to get into like the details of what can really come out in the energy, it'll kind of, you'll notice that the dynamic in the relationship will really follow that blueprint of whatever that story is in the myth. Like, there's so many myths, but I have found, like, in my experience, maybe it's because from my childhood I'm so well acquainted to all those stories, but I mean, they really play out in my life. Like, whatever's going on, like, I find that it's just so true for me. And it's amazing. It's pretty cool.
I completely agree. Actually, studying asteroids is something I definitely want to take the next step to, especially looking at Eros and Psyche as far as synastry, because the accuracy of that, mythology and astrology really do go hand in hand, and just seeing, it's just there's so many asteroids, which only
Yeah.
highlights how much we're missing, how much of the picture we're missing, and the real story.
Yeah, it's interesting to me as well as I don't know if it's in the Bible that says "Word made flesh" or like it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like where if you're familiar with the story and then you find that in your natal chart, if you find that a certain asteroid's on your sun or something, that it becomes true. Maybe just because you already know that story, or if it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, who knows? Like, I've always been drawn to the psychology of things. Like, I'm kind of a realist as well, and a spiritualist. And it's just really, I think the two, honestly, I think, like, the real world, like, the matrix of this dimension, it shouldn't be taken for granted. Like, I think with balance, you can bring the stuff of heaven onto earth, with balance. Like it makes me think of the tarot card, Temperance, like that
Yeah.
angel, like this, and it's hard work too. Like it's not easy, and it's just that constant balancing of like divine harmony.
No, you hit a very important point, because a huge mistake people make is assuming that everything in life, but especially spiritual, has to be easy. Like, that's the
Yeah,
first thing people will tell me when I give them advice. It's like, but it's not easy. And it's like, it's not supposed to be easy. It doesn't have to
yeah,
be. But
yeah.
speaking on asteroids, I know on your channel you have the Black Moon Lilith series and the signs, which are really awesome. I have her
Mm.
YouTube channel in the description box if you want to check that out. What do you really feel about Black Moon Lilith, for those who haven't seen your channel? I really feel like you have a strong connection to her.
I do, and I have a lot of respect, and honestly, it's with a little bit of fear, to be honest. That's some scary stuff,
Yeah.
okay? And I always really resonated with her. It was, and I feel like a lot of people can relate on some level. Um, Certain things like relationships and like you don't really know yourself up until, like also like I was saying in a comment before on your channel, um, sometimes it's different people that you begin to realize it's certain people that bring out certain things in you. So, like I was in a relationship and it was like a shooting star. Like it was the craziest thing ever. what, 3 weeks, and like it, I don't know if it was just like my mind that I was just trying to hold on to it, but it really brought out all these like really Lilith type archetypes, and the more I just happened to find out about her at the same time, so it just kind of, it just happened, and I got really, really drawn into it, and I don't know if like some people say it's like a demon. I don't know. Like I felt like my whole mission with it was weird. It's like I felt like I wanted to redeem her or something, you know, like I understood her and I really personified with her, and like I dealt with some serious challenges because of it, where I have to constantly like monitor my thoughts and my emotions and make sure that I'm not going like overly zealous or getting too caught up in something that I don't quite understand. That's why it's really important that I always promote like health and a healthy spirituality, a good balance, because if you obsession is, and it isn't that pure Lilith, but Lilith has to do a little bit with, she has an obsession of an obsessive energy, I think, as well. And I mean, this sort of thing is very hard to understand. I think humans know very little about this, and if you open yourself up to a certain energy simply by giving attention to it, I mean, anything can happen.
Lilith to me is just as strong as Pluto. Like I have like legit real life experience with this. I know someone who has their Lilith on my sun, and I know someone who they have their Lilith on my Saturn, while I have my Lilith on their Mars, and the
Oh
obsession
my
is just
God, yeah.
palpable. And then I also
It's
have Pluto
crazy,
too.
right? Isn't it almost like smoke or something? Like something
Yeah,
crazy is going down. Like it's insane. It's
yeah.
insane.
With a
Yeah.
touch of like manipulation too, emotional
Yeah,
manipulation, which makes it hard. Like whenever you want to get away from that, it's very succubi in nature, in my
it
opinion.
is. It is.
It's fascinating to me. To be
Yeah.
so, as an Aries, how do you feel you contribute to the spiritual community? How do you feel your messages help? Um, by the way, I have Lilith in Sagittarius. Totally spot on. That was amazing. But yeah, how do you feel as an Aries? Yeah.
As an Aries, I feel like I'm given a little bit of allowance to be a little selfish here, but I find that going inward and trying to find out, and being fearless, because throughout my life, like I was always very spiritual, and I kind of took, I'm gonna say the wrong paths. Okay, I'm gonna say the wrong paths for me at least, because I kind of delved into psychedelics and lots of psychedelics, like taking like an eighth of mushrooms and stuff, and
Whoop,
not
whoop.
coming back like yeah, but like it really I always wanted to know, like I always wanted to know, so I guess I fearlessly go into the unknown, and I really do feel like that little bit of Pisces as well, because I'm extremely spiritual, and the way I kind of blend the two, like Vedic and Western, is I see it like a passage of time, like okay, like every second that's passing, we have just that slight recollection of the second that passed before. So that's like, for me, it's Pisces. For you, it would be Taurus. So you have
Mhm.
a real understanding of Taurus energy, but your life path is to forge on board and do Gemini. For me, it's Aries. So it's like I have that spiritual, diffused kind of understanding of the world, but now I have to be like, well, who am I in all this, you know? So that's the way I see it.
No, you hit the nail on the head. I had done a hangout with a good friend of mine about this topic, and we feel like basically what you said, like your life path is this Western astrological sign, and
Yeah,
then your Vedic or sidereal sign is your spiritual soul, kind of that you're
yeah,
trying to regress back into. Although Vedic people kind of the thing I like about Vedic is you're not really your Vedic sun sign, you're actually your Vedic moon sign. So you'd be a
really. Oh,
Taurus
I'm
or an
still an Aries.
Aries.
Yeah, I'm still an Aries. I've got so much Lilith too. It's I don't know if you've heard of the big star Algol. Like
Oh, that's where my
yeah,
rising is.
I have the Algol moon, and it's it's like a beheaded, lost your
Yeah.
mind, crazy. It's so true. Like it's so true. Like it's crazy. It's insane.
That's my rising sign degree is exactly
Really?
on Algol, yeah.
That's awesome.
I
So
just now
you
read
sing,
into it.
you sing and you rap, right?
Hmm.
Boom, musical talent. That's our goal. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh,
I
that's
can't. I'm
awesome.
trying to sing. Like I'm trying to really channel that energy and be like out of the mood, and like sing. But yeah, like everything with time.
Taurus moons are just fascinating in general. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I love them. It's really awesome. Um, hmm. I also wanted to ask you actually, concerning your channel and whatnot. I know you said you wanted to focus more on relationships and synastry. What other topics do you like to speak on? Because I really don't sense that you're really limited to just astrology and whatnot.
Well, I also want to study the occult. I've been thinking on doing one on the Kabbalah. I've been kind of studying the left-hand path as well, and not just that, but like yoga. I want to read the Bhagavad Gita as well. Like a lot of the spiritual books, I'm gonna do research and read on, and I'm definitely thinking of doing videos on those as well.
Nice. Somebody had actually sent me a shout out to Christopher. He sent me he referred me to this book on Amazon that kind of is a beginner's guide to Kabbalic magic and
Yeah.
sigil work. Might look into that. What do you feel? Um, what do you feel about people's view on the occult as far as it evolving? So it'll be less of something like a sideshow magician trick or some devil worship work, and our kids or our kids starting to talk about astrology or growing up with it.
Yeah, I'm really noticing with the new generation, especially. I really think there must be some truth to the whole indigo children thing because our generation and the ones after ours we're so open-minded and um, we seem to have an innate understanding of the spiritual. And I mean, I think the truth movement is kind of it's really led to some serious exposure to all of that. And I can only speak for myself, but I mean, there is some appeal to it because they're saying that a lot of these powerful, successful people, this is what they do, that they follow the occult and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think that's inevitably going to draw some curiosity, and people are going to want to see what that's all about. I think it's really fascinating.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Everybody who is insanely successful in this world has occultic practices. Like
Yeah.
it's so black and white. Like you either do it or you don't. And it's funny because I guess you don't do it for success, but it's like hand in hand when you're kind of expressing the shadow side of yourself in such a way.
Exactly, and it's why I'm looking to do the left-hand path video because I struggle with it a lot myself because I always feel like on some level I should always surrender, but I'm finding now that if you're willing to put in the work, because I do believe things come with work and with effort, and maybe it's because I'm kind of I'm a Sun square Saturn, so
Mm.
that's like I really feel like at my best. I'd like to feel more like a Capricorn, like that's me at my highest potential. Um, but I really think that people. Hmm, what was I saying? I get distracted really easily. I forgot what I was saying.
You were mentioning the left hand path, and with hard
Left hand path.
work, you'll be able
Yeah.
to.
Yes. So, I mean, it's funny because, I mean, it seems so bad. It's seen as demonized to be able to embrace your own personal power and to put your will on things. But I feel like, I think that's good. If you're willing to put in the work and really, really try and make something happen for you, at some point you should know when it is to finally relax and have faith in all that you did and just release it and let God take control from there.
Um,
But it's a balance.
oh, balance for sure,
Yeah.
definitely. I kind of am hesitant to read up. I'm gonna humble myself and just read anyway with the open mind, but I feel like in these times we're in, like the only thing that's stopping me from reading a book like that is I feel like there's a personal, unique way with Uranus and Aries for us to like do whatever occultic or spiritual things we can accomplish that is like as unique as you are. So like you could read it in a book and it would work, but you know what I mean? Like I have the deepest feeling like perhaps you have your own specific set of like ways to do, and it's just this. It's
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. And I think it should be, and I think, hmm, I might be stretching right now, but, I think as long, because ultimately when we learn something and we do make it our own, and in our own interpretations of things, like on a philosophical level, once I'm processing something, I'm interpreting like this crystal, like I see this crystal, like it's my own unique perception of this crystal. I mean, I can't be 100% sure if somebody else is seeing it the same way that I do. So I think we ultimately do make things our own.
mm, absolutely. Um. Oh, okay. Yeah. I also wanted to chime. Haven't really opened up about this too. You have so much energy in my 12th house of just starting to blab everything. You mentioned about like taking psychedelics, and I remember this one time. Interestingly, I think it was like 2011. I had taken it. I had taken some Molly, and I had felt like amazed. I felt like I had found the key to life, like crazily, from expressing my heart. And then I took a tab of acid, and it was the most ridiculous like experience ever. I didn't expect it. It was. I felt like my mind was in a prison. But the worst part of it was I had gone to the mall later that day, and I had just had this weird perception of the collective consciousness and
Mhm.
unconscious that kind of left an impression on my soul forever. Like I felt like I was receptive to their thoughts, but the negative side of it. And ever since that trip, I kind of have like not paranoia, but a little bit of psychosis in that people like there's a link that is permanent with other people's thoughts. So my
Yeah,
thoughts aren't
yeah.
like as private as I
See,
think they are.
yeah, that's why like I'm saying like with the video, like we all have to be very careful. And in other cultures, in indigenous cultures where people, our Western society looks down on them, they know more than us. They have an experienced shaman, in these rituals, and they're making sure that there's no like doorway that only the doorways that you're ready for are open. But anything can happen. I think taking a drug and because I think it just kind of releases whatever barriers you have, is you are completely under the control of the substance. So anything can happen. And yeah, like I relate, like I've heard like different entities latch on to people in experiences like that. It's very possible.
Definitely what it felt like. But uh, barring on this whole new age relationship stuff, I'd definitely like to get your opinion on that. I think your Venus is in Aries on your Sun too, in the 11th house. So you're someone who could really identify with a way to kind of move this forward or perceive it correctly. What do you feel about? Because I honestly believe our generation has been experimenting with these open relationships, and it's good that
Yeah,
we're messing up now. But there's still so many people who aren't really ready for it because Pluto is not really in Aquarius yet. Where we'll really start seeing this. What do you feel about how things will progress. Like, I still, despite me making that video, I'd still desire to be in a monogamous relationship. But now, if I think about it, I kind of have to ask myself, how realistic is it going to be? What kind of advice would you give?
Um, I, you know what, I really think it's important that as long as you feel serenity in what you're doing, you really feel love, then it's fine. Like it all depends on like how you're feeling. But yeah, I definitely agree that I think our generation has been experimenting with it, and with like the whole friends with benefits thing, and I think that's kind of a mess up there. But I also think this with what's going on with Uranus and what's the square again? No, I can't think of it. The
Pluto.
square, Uranus and Pluto.
Hmm.
Um, that they, I mean, this kind of happened, I think it was a conjunction back in the 60s. So we're kind of seeing, again, like we're seeing this energy trying to express itself again.
Hmm.
So, I mean, like, I think, okay, I think anything is possible. I think I struggle with it too because supposedly, like in the Christian religion, I think it is, you can have an affair just in your thoughts, in your mind, just for having desire for someone. Even if you're not acting on it, that's still a sin, I think. Um,
That is
I
so
think,
crazy that you brought that up because we talked about
yeah,
that. Me and my sister and a friend talked about that the other day.
yeah, I wonder what that's all about. And for me, I think the mind is like a portal to a different dimension. I think anything is possible. I mean, I think you can send love to anyone and everything. Um, of course, it's going to make a difference if you're in it, but at the same time, I think naturally human beings are very loving and we're meant to be loving with each. I have a lot of earth energy, so I appreciate the tradition of marriage and stuff like that. It means something to me, but at the same time, I do really feel that there's absolutely nothing wrong with sharing your love. And I mean, just as long as it's real love, not going into lust,
Yeah.
uh, just true love.
And of course, I mean, this is a process, so we can't assume that it'll just work out. It's just going to be something like you've been saying we'd have to work really hard at. And
Yeah,
and I mean, it's also an adventure too. We have to remember spirit is all part and parcel of this. So,
yeah,
I guess as much as we try and control things, if we surrender to the moment and remember we only have now, that'll really do a great job of exposing where people's true motives are.
yeah.
So, other than that, um, where what do you think about the this Jupiter about to enter Leo? What do you think? What do you feel about the snapshot of where we are now and where we're going? Because this is rad right now, subtly
I
rad.
think like a total rock star energy. I'm looking forward to it. Um, I mean, I think it's going to be fantastic. I really do feel the Jupiter transits. I feel like we've been able to appreciate the feminine a lot more and appreciate the role of family and things like that with this whole revival of kind of like patriarchy within the New Age movement. And Leo is going to be so much fun. I love Leo.
Yeah, Leo is fabulous. um, all right. Well, I've asked a few questions so far. Let's play a little game. The same games I usually play. What three zodiac signs are your favorite, and which three give you the most challenge?
um, I I can Okay, I'm gonna say more than three. I like Leo, Aquarius. I love that whole axis right there, Leo and Aquarius. Um, I love Gemini. I love Pisces. Those are my favorites. I find that I get along the most with them. Um, Difficult ones, I mean, I love these signs too, but often like it just gets complicated, like for energy, and it's my opposite. It's Libra. For some reason, I don't understand. It's like we just don't speak the same language. Like I'm just so much more. It's just natural for me to be open about things, and I can't quite. It's not that I don't understand because I know like the whole intuitive communication thing. I'm aware when it happens, but it's just. On a personal level, it just irks me. Like, it's just like, why can't you just be direct? And it's the same thing with Cancer as well. Like, I just get a little impatient with the energy. And, but I mean, I love Cancer. At the same time, like, my Eros and my Chiron are in the Cancer sign. And, I mean, I repeatedly, with my relationships, I just noticed this repeating thing with Cancer. It'll be like, I just attract a lot of Cancers. There's something there. There must be.
Interesting. So, all right, that's very interesting. I really like Aries and Pisces. That energy to me is like the beginning and the end, the alpha and omega.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting. It's really, really interesting. It's really special. I like to. Lady Gaga is an Aries too. She's just crazy. She's just like in a different dimension. Like, and she's very creative, and at the same time, like, I think she really represents that energy, and I think she has the Jesus thing. Like, she's like obsessed with Jesus, and it's just nuts. It's really cool though.
All right, so now we could ask each other 3 questions. They could be astrologically related or not. And you can go first.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so here's one I thought about. Humor me here because it's gonna be from way out there.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so there's a soul. There's a soul so old that it was around at the time of creation, and it was around at the time of like Jesus. Maybe it was both Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and they're like they're twin flames or something. But you humor me. Let's say it's true, and now this soul is back and it's incarnated into this generation as well, and it's kind of like the new Messiah. All right, what signs are these twin flames?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know, that's one. I thought about that one.
Gemini and Sagittarius? No, I was joking. Interestingly enough, it's a very hard question to answer because I originally thought that twin flames were really opposite signs because it kind of like represented that duality a lot. Um, Damn, I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's crazy that you kind of asked as far as like an old soul that was there in the beginning, but kind of just observed while everything happened, kind of talking shit like, "Oh, look what you're doing in this void that I created." But with it's interesting that you mentioned Jesus and Mary Magdalene being twin flames. I totally do believe that they are back right now in this dimension, and a lot of people think that this Messiah is just one person, but you kind of alluding them to be twin flames makes a whole lot more sense to me. So as far as what signs they might be, damn, I really want to say Pisces and Virgo or Gemini and Sag, but it could be Aquarius and Leo too. Um, Wow. And then damn, shoot, Aries and Gemini, or freaking Libra and Aquarius. I'm stumped. I'm really stumped. I really
Yeah,
have.
I think you know what, and I think something has to do because you know how everyone was saying 2012 is like that was like the year that
Mhm.
this new consciousness would start to develop. Um,
Yeah.
that Venus retrograde in Gemini, I think has something to do with it. I really felt that retrograde in Venus. And
Yeah.
supposedly the myth is that that's Venus going into the underworld. So it's this feminine energy going through the trials and tribulations, the darkness, and facing her shadow, and coming out the other side. If Jesus and Mary, again, humor me here. This is just some thoughts that I have.
Mhm.
Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I mean, Jesus really was the ultimate sacrifice, and I think maybe this time to restore balance, it'd be the feminine, introducing us into something. Not or, but also it's balance
Just got chills right now.
because I don't think like female energy is just gonna straight up be like we're gonna save the world now. Like, I don't know. Like I like it's gonna be like it's just about restoring that perfect balance. It's like that Libra principle where men also begin to not reject their divine feminine within where um a lot of the time like I struggle with this myself. Like I'm always questioning my feelings like why do I feel like this right now? But that's just your own intuition talking to you. And it's your emotions should be, I think they should be used as a guiding system. So I think we're all learning to embrace the more mysterious feminine aspects of ourselves. And a lot of the time, unfortunately, again, this ties into Black Moon Lilith, it's demonized because it's not understood. It's something that we feel things without necessarily knowing why. And sometimes, in order to go there, we have to face an unpleasant truth. And but ultimately, once you see it, it's not so scary anymore. So yeah, I mean, I think it's really it's just so interesting. I think like anything is possible.
What two signs do you think they are?
Um, I think there must be something to as to a fucus or a fiacus being revealed now at this point. Um, I think sometimes I think it's Capricorn and Aries, or fucus and Pisces, or really, I mean, it could be anything. See, because with that, with
Yeah,
with twin flames, that's the thing, is if it's like a Messiah thing, I think this is the kind of salvation that I think anyone, if they're open to it, they can receive. And it's just about trusting their intuition and being completely open.
totally
And
agree.
yeah,
Interestingly enough, with that, I've really it pain. Oh, it does not pay me to say this. Sorry. I really, really do not believe Jesus ever existed, to be completely honest. I know there was a Yeshua, and I know there were like groups of people like Jesus, but if anything, I feel like this figure that was the Messiah was actually a woman, but they try to, masculate because, you know, with all this patriarchy around that time, they would expect a man to be the savior. But it is my deepest belief that it's women that actually initiate everyone into new spiritual knowledge. So even if it was like um, back again, I could see it being a man and a woman. But even at that, it's the woman that's going to kind of lead that. And even with this whole age of Aquarius, like, Aquarius is a masculine sign, but it's Aquarius women that are really going to be leading this age. And on top of that, yeah, just kind of, I mean, women have both of their brains, both sides of their brains connected, and men only have one side. That's like my biggest selling point right there. What do you feel
Yeah,
about that?
women need men. Women need men. So like I mean there is like a complete balance. Like I don't know. It's crazy. It's
Oh yeah,
crazy. But um yeah, I believe that both can really bring something. The two must work together, you know.
true that.
Yeah.
So okay, as far as my question, um, let's say you had the chance to get a psychic reading from two of the best psychics in town. Like they're completely legit. They just have different styles. One is a Pisces and one is a Virgo. Which one would you go to?
Hmm. This wow, I don't know. See, you know what? I have no idea. I think that both would be, my first instinct is Virgo because I really need someone to, then just speaking for me, I need someone to ground me a lot. Like, I need to just be in reality. And I can't get too caught up in the etheric because ultimately we're here. And like, I lived like a complete lifestyle of just only wanting to expand my consciousness and neglecting the physical world. So I prefer an earth sign.
Yeah, cannot blame you. Um, I literally had a reading from a Virgo and a Pisces at the same time, and I was just blown away at how like they were both accurate, but I know with all my Earth energy, like I really liked the Virgo's reading because they're just so like real. Not that the Pisces wasn't real, but like the advice they give you and the stuff they pull from the cards is like you'll get real time dates like oh expect this this that that. Um, whereas the Piscean reading was very accurate, very spot on, but really like I don't want to say vague, but I like Piscean readings because they really give you room to, imagine possibilities and whatnot. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. So it's your turn for a
Another one?
question. Yep.
Okay.
You got two
Okay.
more.
Let's see. Okay, what energy would you say, and it could be astrologically or any kind of energy that inspires you most when you create music?
Oh, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. Um, hmm. I mean, astrologically, it would make sense that Virgo does because Virgo is my fifth house. One of my most favorite songs off my album is called Love Child. And I wrote that song because it was inspired to me from a Virgo that I had a crush on a long time ago. But it wasn't really a direct inspiration. Sagittarius inspires me a whole lot. And same as Aries and Taurus. Yeah, I would say those four energies right there. And we could even add in Aquarius and Gemini. And Libra too. I kind of get a lot from each sign, but yeah, I'll stick with those for now. It definitely give me that inspiration as far as if I was in a studio with one of those signs or energies and I would have to see yeah, because there's some people that I'll collaborate with on music and I just like make masterpieces so quickly, and they're usually fire signs, fire and earth signs, definitely. I'd say, yeah.
Okay, next question.
Wait, hold on. I'll ask you one, and then you can ask me one after. What do you feel about polygamy, and how realistic is that, or can it like really work out? And different forms of polygamy too. Like, could one woman be with multiple husbands, vice versa, or could you have like man and woman in a group marriage. How would that? How do you feel about that?
I feel like on some level, I mean, I don't know. See, I don't know if like I have my head in the clouds, but instinctually, I've always really understood those kinds of things. Like I read a book, Stranger in a Strange Land, which is about an alien who he was living in Mars, I think it was, and then he came to planet Earth, and he basically brought like this new way of life, and it was so Aquarian. He was like really into polygamy and stuff. And he was teaching people I guess like the concept of like divine love and the fact that it would have no attachments, not attachments, yes, but no possessiveness and or jealousy. And I mean, on on paper, like I understand the emotional sentiment of it, and I think it's really beautiful. On some level, if I mean, like, I feel like I'm kind of looking at the world through rose-colored sunglasses right now, but I do feel like humanity, we all should love one another. I mean, I have certain visions of like Atlantis and stuff where I imagine um, humanity, like, at somewhere close to the peak of its evolution, would probably be maybe we'd communicate telepathically. We'd all be one, you know?
Yeah,
And yeah, and like we'd live in harmony with the planet. So I think polygamy and stuff, it would just go very naturally with that.
definitely interesting. Yeah, I could totally understand why you felt you had rose-tinted sunglasses, because it just seems like such a beautiful notion, but people get so jealous, like, oh, you love her, you love him more than you love me. And I mean, then again, just like a monogamous marriage, there could be so much that could go. I guess they both have their pros and cons, but definitely exploring that concept of not holding back your love for someone because you feel that would be disrespectful for a partner, as long as there's honesty, you know. But anyway, oh, sorry, you have the question. One more question.
Oh, okay, so all right, what do you think is the role in the imagination and like the world that we can't see even though we experience it? Okay, so like how is it that like I can be right here but
Uh-huh.
I can be just like outside in my mind. I'm outside and as I'm talking to you, I'm daydreaming something else completely different. Like how is that possible and how is it that why do you think people can ignore the the world that we don't quite know of and yet it's so closely tied into our experience? And yet someone will just say that they're only about the five senses and it's just about this reality. Like they just completely shut themselves off from the possibility of that. I mean, there's magic to that, like, in my opinion.
That is such a beautiful question. About to go batshit crazy here, so brace yourselves, because this is ridiculous to be. Yeah, I mean, you can't. As much as you want to limit yourself to the five senses, you can't see emotions, but they definitely influence you. As far as imagination, for me, it's it's definitely a whole another realm in itself. Visualization is one of the greatest gifts that we have. And, you know, some of the greatest things have been accomplished because of imagination, like Disney has plainly showed us, Walt Disney. As far as this other realm of imagination, like I feel like me speaking to you here, I'm just a video game, what do you call it? Uh, like not icon, but like I'm in this game being controlled by my higher self, and it just really feels like this is just such a small facet of experience. I can never rush to any conclusions, and having imaginations and opening myself up to the other realm and of imagination kind of gives me a glimpse of, you know, what else could possibly be really here. Um, Maybe it's the reason why we don't use that much of our brain because we're so focused on this real.
Yeah.
That's a really honestly a whole other like discussion slash video on its own because this is so infinitely fascinating to me. Like I honestly feel like we're talking right now, but you know, there's a whole bunch of entities and spirits in this imaginary world, imaginary, like right around that influence the imaginations and thoughts and feelings that I have, and we're just so unaware of it. We attribute it to so many other things. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Whoa, I almost forgot what I was about to ask right now. Oh, there we go. What zodiac sign or signs plural do you feel or do you enjoy having sex with the best?
Um, um, hmm. You know what? I'm gonna go with a synastry aspect.
Nice.
I like Moon Mars a lot, but I don't know if it's just because I um I I attract that a lot. I mean, it's always happening. So like Moon Mars, I find that it's I mean it could have a bad side to it as well, but it's especially like the trine because for me, it ends up being a lot of like earth energy and air energy, and it's Moon Mars is like that's like masculine energy and feminine energy, particularly with like a trine or sometimes the conjunction can kind of go either way because it's just such intense energy, but
Hmm.
it's really satisfying, and I think that's because of the moon.
Hmm.
It leaves you just very it leaves you feeling very whole. Um, in an instinctual level in a way that it's almost like I almost feel like it's just really satisfying in a way that almost like a very infant way like it's like the moon and the baby. I don't know, like it's just a very satisfying experience.
I totally agree. Moon and Aries people who have their moon on my Mars is ridiculous. Like, I
Yeah,
never really experienced that. I've never really had sex with someone with the moon Mars kind of synastry, but the energy is I like it because it's a lighter. It's not really a Pluto addiction or obsession or a Lilith kind of thing, but you still feel that intensity, and it's like
yeah,
they're so receptive to it too. It's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much. This was very awesome. I'm very grateful for this. I guess to wrap up, what advice do you have for people who are kind of stepping into speaking their truth and making videos or outreaching to other people about their beliefs?
um I think people should have faith. Make sure to step into something with like my dad always says, like step in with the right foot, you know? Okay. Yeah, but like, like um try not to rush into it. Like there's an appropriate time for everything, and as long as you're feeling right within yourself, like it took me a while. Like I was making videos for like since 2012, but they were just generally for myself. And I found that I got a lot of feedback, and then really I'm grateful that I started at this point because now I can really talk about some of the things that have been on my mind. I can really articulate them. So just make sure it's the right time for you, and you'll know when it is.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna have your channel in the description box, but is there any other way anyone could contact you if they want a reading or to talk to you about astrology or like
For now, that's what.
Ah, hello. Seem to be having some technical difficulties. Oh goodness. Well, it looks like oh crap. Seem to have had some technical difficulties, but Mercury is going retrograde, so can't say I'm surprised. Yeah, we're gonna end this live broadcast here, and see you next video. Peace.